Pej. Sometimes I go by Peji.
Mhm.
This is a recovery podcast. We recovery from what? Recovery from drug addiction, from alcoholism, from mental health. We get all different types of guests on this recovery podcast and talking about their recovery process. Today we have a very special guest. It's my friend Gabe.
Yep. Gabriel Acevedo. Yep. Pej actually helped me a lot. I gave him a really hard time. I was really giving him some pushback. I didn't know what I wanted. I was scared to like experience the withdrawals and everything. I got introduced to drugs at a very young age because like my uncle was a drug dealer. So I had
Where'd
access.
you grow up exactly? Which part of California?
San Dimas, California.
San Dimas, which
Yeah.
is by Raging Waters.
Yeah, right there. Nice city. So once I started stealing from him, like it was just weed at first and money.
How old were you when you were doing that?
So I started stealing money 13. I was using it on kids stuff like bikes, baseball bats, things like that.
The stuff kids do.
Yeah,
Right.
regular. Look, and then Dare came to my school, and I was like, oh, I seen that stuff in my uncle's room when I was like stealing the money. So
So how old was your uncle that you were this 13-year-old kid?
he was like, I want to say 10 years, like 23 about that time. Now he's like 30. So
Okay. So he was in his
Yeah.
mid-20s.
yeah, he still lives at home. He's still doing the same thing. So
Okay.
doesn't lead you anywhere. Yeah, I started stealing from him. So I started stealing from my family to go hang out with random strangers with my family's money that they needed, basically. And I was just like disrespectful. I didn't care about anyone. I just needed my drugs, and that's all I cared about. And
So you were addicted at a very young age, like already addicted to drugs.
yes.
Okay.
Or I had an addictive personality for everything. Baseball, I was addicted to it. Like anything, like I was addicted to it. Sports, like everything.
Which those are healthy addictions.
Yeah, I just chose a bad addiction. That's what my boss always tells me.
So what kind of drugs was it early on in life that you were experimenting with and getting addicted to?
So it was weed at first. I used to be really against pills. I was hanging out with older people at the time, so they were taking pills. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'll stick to my weed. And then one day my friend was like, dude, just take like half. Like, you'll be fine. And I was like,
Half of what? What kind of pill was it?
a Xanax.
Okay.
And
You were how old then?
like 15.
15 years old.
Yeah.
Already messing with the Xanax.
Yeah, I already messed with it.
Okay.
And I took it. I fell asleep, didn't like it. So I woke up. I was like, dude, that was the worst experience ever. He's like, you fell asleep. Like, how do you know it was a bad experience?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, I don't remember anything. Like, I lost like a bunch of money. Like, he probably stole it now that I think about it.
Right.
But the next day he's like, okay, let's try a full one and then see how you feel. So I tried it and I liked it. And that's when it started. I was like, dang, like I started to get more like I started looking in my grandma's like medicine cabinet more.
Which a lot of kids do. A lot of kids that are looking for something that's going to change their head.
Yeah.
Find out that grandma has some stuff in her medicine cabinet that she probably isn't taking anymore.
Yep.
It's either expired or it'll still work, but regardless of the fact, that's where you went. Did you find stuff?
That's where I kind of looked away because like it put me in a bad position. Like I still feel really bad about this because she actually needs the medication that I was taking from her. So when I was taking it from her, she was struggling. Like she was going through pain. Like her face was like she has like this muscle spasm where her face goes sideways if she doesn't have her medicine. And I didn't think of that. I didn't care.
You just wanted the drugs.
Yeah.
So then after you tapped grandma's medicine cabinet and you ran out, then what'd you do?
Tapped her for more money. Told her people were gonna rob me and things like that, or I would go back in my uncle's room. Once he started to catch on to that, like putting locks and stuff, I would get risky, like break his window, like and just I don't know. I was reckless. Like I didn't care.
Right. And I want to. We're going to get into that and talk about that because as I got to know you later on in your life, I realized there was a lot of defiance. You were a very combative young man, very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
You kind of like right when we started the podcast, you like just straight out the gate talked about how you gave me a hard time. But you know what? Right now you're good, and I really like seeing you like this. But as you grew up, like in your adolescent period, you had a kid at a young age, correct? How old were you?
I got her pregnant. I think I want to say 17, 16.
16, 17 years old. Okay. And now you have a daughter.
Mm.
And we'll talk about that too, because that's very important, right?
It's a big part.
You later on, like in your later teens, were you constantly using pills?
So before I had her or after?
It doesn't matter. Like we're not talking about your daughter
So
anymore.
I got charged in 10th grade with the sales charge at school because I got caught, and I got put on drug court, and I didn't take anything seriously. Everything they were telling me, like I just didn't.
You were
believe.
put on drug court as a teenager.
Yeah, adolescent.
And you weren't following up with drug court. You weren't.
I was going, but I was like, dude, I'm not addicted.
Were
Like,
you getting high during that time?
Yeah.
Were they not testing you?
They were testing me, but I knew how to like
how to pass a test?
yeah, how to pass
Okay.
the test.
Was there classes and things like that?
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention, like
Right.
because I didn't think I needed to be there.
Yeah, I mean, most people that go to drug court that think it was
Yeah,
circumstantial don't really think they need to be there.
yeah.
Okay, so then once you became an adult,
Mm-hmm.
18,
18.
were you getting in trouble then?
It got worse. I feel like.
Like what got worse?
I just, I don't know. Like, I felt like I don't know. Once I turned 18, I felt like I had more freedom because I had my ID. Like, I could get rooms now. I could go do whatever I wanted. And then, like, I guess for me, like, a big trigger for me is like when me and my baby mama fight because, like, I don't know. She's with me. That's like she was with me through everything. Like when my addiction started, when I didn't know about it, like we've been through everything. I kind of got I introduced her to like the pills and everything like that. So like there's still like that guilt on me for it. But you know, like it is what it is. Like
How old were you when I met you?
I think I just turned 18.
How old are you right now?
23.
23.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Time flew.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It did.
it really flew.
Yeah.
When I met you, your mother had found me.
Mm-hmm.
The way that she found me, and I'm just going to put this right out there so everybody knows.
Yeah.
I had a guy that was a buddy of mine from the 12-step world out here. He was a youngster that asked me for mentorship, right? He was younger than me. When I say youngster, much younger than me, but he was like almost in his mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
He's from back east, from New Jersey. His mother was friends with another lady who had a daughter that had an addiction problem. And that lady's daughter ended up going and cleaning up her life and changing her life. That lady was trying to help people back east. And that lady was also talking to people on a national level. And that lady found your mom, or your mom found that lady. They found each other.
Yeah, because she was desperate at that time.
She was desperate.
Very desperate.
And how they found each other was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some kind of Facebook
Yeah, like a group.
right? Like addicts of mothers of addicts and things like that. So because she knew I was here on the West Coast, she said there is somebody that needs help. And so she put me in touch with your mom. And then I talked with your mom for a while. And at the time, you didn't have insurance and you'd already gone to
IVRS, American Recovery Center. They
like
paid out of pocket.
indigent places.
Yeah.
Right. And although you had already had experiences with the indigent places, you weren't staying sober.
No, I was just going because I had to.
Sometimes because you had to, and if I'm not mistaken, sometimes because you were kicking.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. So at this time, she had told me that she was getting insurance through her work. And I told her, well, he's going to get better treatment with that because, you know, those other places can only do so much when it comes to county facilities.
Yeah.
This is a known thing on a national level, right? Like, if you have better insurance, you may receive better treatment. But then also the way that she was describing you to me was that you have your days. Like some days you want the help and some days you are absolutely reluctant to wanting to get help and you're defiant and you're angry and you're
very angry.
You're calling her names and this and that. So I thought, okay, well, obviously like we're dealing with a troubled young man that probably has a bunch of trauma and is just drowning himself in addiction.
And I couldn't wait a 2-month wait list.
Right. But eventually, like when the time came, everything worked out to where your insurance was kicked in and I brought you to a place in Costa Mesa, California.
Yeah.
That was your first time that you ever went to an actual treatment center that was, you know, insurance pay,
Yeah.
right, from private insurance. And at the time, you know, I was working there, and I believe and still believe that they were providing great treatment for people that wanted it.
Yeah, it was
Right.
great.
It was great. There was a guy that was actually one of the owners of the place. He's no longer alive.
Yeah.
I know that you experienced him firsthand.
Yeah, he always told me when I was there. He told me, if you're gonna be here, it's like basketball camp. You're not gonna learn anything if you don't pick up that ball. So like, if I didn't pick up that AA book or NA book, like I'm not learning anything.
Okay. So you came there, and again, it happened. Like you were like a fish out of water.
Yeah,
You didn't want to be there. You didn't want to even be sober, right?
Nah.
So at the time you kicked and screamed, and I
Threw a
would,
fit, yeah.
you threw a fit. I would come talk to you. Staff would try to talk to you, and then after a while, like you decided you wanted to leave, and you ended up going to another treatment center. You went to a few other treatment centers.
yeah,
And that's what we call treatment hopping, is when you go from one place to the next place. Now you had become a treatment hopper. You even made your way to Florida,
yeah.
right?
Texas.
And a couple of places, and then back to California. And I would often hear about you. So your mom was always staying in touch with me. It had gotten so bad over a period of time that I would tell your mom, you know, if it was my kid, I would probably cut the insurance so he doesn't keep using it as like a Express MasterCard or whatever,
Yeah.
a
That's a
platinum card to be able to
Yeah.
go to treatment constantly.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing because I knew like anywhere I called, they would just take me.
Right. And she didn't want to cut the
Yeah.
insurance because she was like, but what's going to happen like when he actually wants to get the help and he's serious about it? So for a little bit, like we were back in each other's lives. You even came, I had a sober living. You came there for a little bit, but you didn't want to, again, you didn't want to do what we do.
Yeah,
You didn't want to stay, but we always interacted in each other's lives. And I was at a point with you, Gabe, where I was afraid for your life because I would get phone calls from your mom, from treatment centers, from people in the community, from your friends
yeah,
saying that he overdosed again. I personally went and saw you in a hospital bed
when I smacked my
when you
face.
smacked your face.
And actually, that time I left Beginnings and I went to go smoke fentanyl. And
You were at a motel
by
the
myself.
Vagabond Inn, if I'm not mistaken.
No, or maybe, I don't know. But I just walked up the street and picked up, and luckily, like I was smoking with some random people that Narcan.
They Narcan. So you were hanging out with people,
Random.
random people,
Random people.
that you overdosed in that scene, and they saved your life because they Narcaned you.
Yeah.
And you know, at that time, like, although fentanyl the craze had just begun and a lot of people were doing it, the average person that was addicted, that was doing it all the time, saw their friends overdosing, so they come prepared. They had Narcan, and they happened to see you.
Yeah.
They Narcaned you.
Yeah. Well, they were telling me from the start, don't do it, because I told them, I was like, I don't do fentanyl, I do pressed pills. And they're like, we don't have those out here. Like, it's just fentanyl.
Straight powder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was kicking, so I was like, okay.
So
I
then
took
you did it,
one hit, done.
and you overdosed.
Smacked my face on the table.
So they Narcaned you, and they called the authorities.
Yeah, and then they put me in my room because they didn't want to be involved in anything. Like, I don't know, they got all scared and
They didn't want to touch it.
yeah,
So, and then the authorities came and they got you and took you to the hospital.
yeah. They took me to the Newport, I think.
It was at Hoag Hospital. I remember coming and visiting you, and I said, "Look at your face, man. Like this is what's happening to you. Like you had never actually overdosed, I don't think yet."
No, I had my first. So that picture of you see me laying in my bed with my face all red.
Yeah.
That's when I first started pills. And
So you had overdosed before?
yeah,
Okay.
I had overdosed. My first overdose, I'm about to get into. My mom, I had just moved back to my mom's, I think, for some reason, because I got kicked out. She let me stay there for a couple of days. Oh, I was living with my baby mama, and we got in a fight. I moved back to my mom's. I started messing around like with blues once I left my baby mama because Xanax wasn't enough anymore. Like it was like now I was hurting because she was gone. So I was doing those, and my mom said like she got like a weird feeling in the middle of the night. I went downstairs. I crushed up a pill. I was in my grandma's car. I snorted it, and then I smoked, and then she looked out the window and she came downstairs, and I was yellow and like pale and like sweating, and it was cold outside. It's the middle of the winter in Ontario. And she yanks me out of the car. She's doing chest compressions. My phone's at 1%. Like she's tripping. She's
Right.
scared. She thinks her kid's about to die. I'm freezing. Like
Which you were about to do.
I was dead, literally. Like
You know what saddens me is to hear that, and this is such a common thing now for so many youngsters, such as yourself. It's like, it's not supposed to be like that. Like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Like, you weren't birthed to come into this world, to be raised by your mother, to grow up, you know. And I understand a lot of kids will experiment with drugs, but by this young of an age, to have them come and get you out of your car where you're overdosing to try to revive you and make sure you don't die.
Yeah, and that's not the only time. My grandma's had to do it multiple times. They've had to kick in bathroom doors because I've done it. My daughter found me, actually. Like
That part.
Yeah. So
Your daughter found you overdosed.
Yeah, so I just got done from beginning, 3 months.
Yeah.
Did good. I was kind of scared about going home. I should have spoke up and been like, can I stay a little bit? But I think the addict part in me was like,
I remember that. Like, you got into a point where you're like, I did enough time here.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. I kind of felt in my heart of hearts, it's not that he's not ready. It's him going back home. That's scary.
Yeah, like I wanted to go home because I wanted like that relationship with my family, but I also knew like in the back of my head what my plans were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the disease.
And I didn't know
the
when.
disease that's whispering.
Yeah.
Another thing was your influences, like where you lived, who you were around. I remember there was a time that when before you even came to treatment, or like right around the time that you came, somewhere in your neighborhood, it seemed there was people that were after you.
Yeah, so
that was real, right?
Yeah. So like I was selling a lot of drugs like out of my grandma's house and things like that.
So you were caught up.
Yeah, and like I would sell people fake stuff because sometimes like I didn't have enough or like things like that. Or people would just try and rob me because they're fiending and stuff like that.
So your whole neighborhood, that whole area, everyone's kind of fucked up in their own right, like their own.
Well,
way,
no,
right?
it's actually a really nice neighborhood. It's like in the suburbs of.
But
San
the kids
Dimas.
are all fucking around.
Yeah, now they are.
Yeah,
now they are. Like so, San Dimas High School, where I went when I was in high school, we were smoking weed out of apples in the bathroom.
Right.
These kids are passing around foil.
So scary, so bad.
And I actually called a couple schools on the way up here, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys provide or like carry Narcan?"
Yeah.
Like 3 of them said no. I called 5.
Right.
2 carry them.
After your relapses, you ended up going to treatment several more times.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
Did you at a time figure out that you can use that insurance card of yours to go to lots of places, and there was people that you'd surrounded yourself around that saw value in that card within itself?
Yeah.
It's not that they cared about you as a human being.
No, but they talked to me like they did.
They talked to you like they're trying to help you.
Yeah. They talked to me like I was family. They
like they're hope dealers,
Yeah.
man. They want to
exactly.
not dope dealers, hope dealers,
Yeah.
right?
They're like, we got your best interests. We're gonna take care of you. Da 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 da. Da. And here
In
I
your
am.
gut, did you feel like these motherfuckers are probably low key shady?
Yeah, kind of. But
Did you think that?
Yeah.
Sometimes?
But then also, what I was doing was shady too.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Those people,
Yeah.
were they enticing you with money?
Yeah.
Was it thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars? What was it?
So it was thousands, but it like didn't actually make like it.
They would say thousands, they wouldn't give you the thousands?
I get pieced out.
Sort of like bad drug deals.
Yeah.
Pieced out means that...
Like 100 here, 200 there.
Okay, so they tell you, example, what would they say, couple thousand?
10,000 for 30 days.
They would tell you they'd give you 10 G's to go to treatment for 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay, let me break this down real quick.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, when it comes to body brokering,
Yeah.
when it comes to treatment hopping,
Yeah.
there's people that don't know about this stuff, they don't know what goes on in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my girlfriend's mom was asking me, what does body brokering mean yesterday on
Yeah.
Christmas? And I was like breaking it all down for her. when insurances started to pay for treatment, there were certain people that had possibly experienced recovery at some time, right? They may have gotten sober. Not everybody does recovery the same way. There's some people that come into recovery, they work a strong, good recovery program. They're honest. They live with integrity. They walk a straight line. They do what's right. There's some people that they come in and they think, oh wait, insurance pays for people's treatment, so they will start to want to market, in a sense, these people. So they'll meet people in treatment centers or treatment center owners or treatment center, whoever the decision makers are, right?
Yeah.
They'll meet people. Those people are the third party people, and they will find people to recruit them, people that have good insurance, people that have insurance, and they will entice them by telling them, hey, buddy, I'm your friend. You need to get sober. Do you want to make money in this process too?
Yeah.
Most people that they are saying this to have never really been serious about the recovery. So when they hear money, their
like,
ears perk forward, the carrot's being dangled. The individual is now the person that's in a sense dealing out to them.
Yeah.
And dealing them to the center as like a drug dealer
Yeah,
would,
basically.
right?
Yeah.
We'll make these kind of empty promises or half-assed promises or even like a third promise, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not even that. And tell you, I'll give you 10 G's. I need you to go to the center for how many days?
30 days.
30 days. How did you meet those people?
So I got curious. I started hearing things. I started asking questions. I just asked a lot of questions, and I watched a lot.
So this was other patients that were talking
other
about
patients that were talking about
Okay.
it, and they
that
would be
were
like,
getting paid.
yeah. So like, for some reason, whenever it always came up like, hey, who got you here? Like, hey, what insurance do you have? And I would be like why? Like, I'd be like Cigna, like, ooh, like, I'd be like,
That to them that's a good policy.
yeah, they're like, ooh, and I'm like, what? Like,
Question for you. You brought up a name of a center that you went to at first. The guy.
yeah,
He's no longer with us. He passed away.
Yeah.
Was he ever caught up in that stuff with you directly?
not with me directly. No.
Did he ever tell you, I'll give you this much money to do anything like that?
Never, nothing like that.
Did you have good experiences with that individual?
I had very good experiences with him. I had very long talks with him. Like, I didn't always agree with what he said because I wasn't ready.
Right.
But
What do you mean with what he said? Was it recovery based?
yeah,
And
it's
you
just
you weren't ready to
hear the
in-
harsh reality
the harsh reality of what recovery consists of.
and of what I was doing to my family and my daughter,
So he would tell you the truth about yourself and how you're behaving.
and I didn't like it.
Okay, so he wasn't caught up in
Yeah,
that.
no.
The people that you were getting caught up were people that you met along your journey of going to other centers, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once I started doing things on my own, that's when I
Right.
figured
You
things
became a lone wolf in that realm of life. So you could hop from the next place to the next place because you always had somebody that was guiding you to the next places by dangling the carrot and saying, here's some, I'll give you this much money. And
or even weed or like benzos.
they'll
or,
piece it out with
yeah,
anything.
anything. Cars, like there's everything.
Cars to borrow or to
to
have?
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the most amount of money they ever paid you to go to treatment? Anybody?
So,
That you actually got paid?
so this would be the first time I ever went. I think I got about like 8,000.
8,000.
Yeah.
Okay. They actually paid you $8,000.
Yeah.
So if they paid you $8,000, imagine what that center that they sent you to was making off your insurance.
At least 180,000, 200,000 maybe.
Okay.
Brand
Wow.
new policy.
Did your mom know along the way that this was all going on?
She suspected it at the time because she was like, who is this? What facility is this? Like, what are you doing? But she had nothing like to go off of. She didn't know anything about it. So, and I had just overdosed when I went into that place. So she was just like, I just need my kid off the streets.
When you ended up going to a bunch of different treatment centers, in the end, you got to a point where you hit me up.
Yeah.
you actually got in touch with me.
That means I was desperate. Because
In a sense, you were desperate. But I remember you told me that you saw my name being blasted on this ethics page.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I'm talking about it is because as time goes on, the reality of the actual happenings of me and what I was involved in it'll show itself.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove anything to anybody.
No.
But you as a person that had experienced me and who I was for you,
Yeah.
what did you tell me? I see your name on there, but what?
But you don't work like that. Like, that's not how you get down. You've never done anything like that. Like, I lived at your sober livings. Like, you're hardcore on everybody. And like,
In what sense? Hardcore in what way?
Like sobriety wise, like meetings, like pushing your chair, like life skills, things like that. Like things that are gonna like make your bed in the morning, like things that are gonna help you actually grow in life. And it's not like a flop house. It's not like, oh, you can go here and smoke weed and do whatever you want and have girls come over. Like, no, you gotta have
So you ended up in places that were weed friendly.
Yeah.
Tons of them.
Yeah, I ended up as a house manager at one of them.
Okay. Are you open to talking about during that time when you reached out to me and you said you saw my name on there and you know what I'm all about?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where you were living then?
I had just got fired from my house manager job for relapsing on benzos.
Okay.
Because I was trying to taper off of Suboxone.
Okay. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I remember talking to you and you said something along the lines of, yeah, I'm sober this long.
Mm-hmm.
And then you told me like, but I still smoke weed. And I go, okay, well, if that's your sobriety. And then you also mentioned something about being on subs. And I said, okay, well, I'm happy he's trying to get off of that.
Yeah, because I was like 9 months in. I was just smoking weed and doing subs. And then I started throwing up because I have stomach problems like already. I had them since a baby. So I tried getting off the subs and I tried to do it myself and I can't.
Right.
I'm an addict.
So mind you, when you were reading that stuff on the ethics page, I was kicked off of that page. I used to sit on that page and observe and watch as, I think the guy who started it for a good reason. I really admired that. I admired him. I know that he worked in a place where he saw some stuff that he didn't like. But as time went on, I started to see them, some people would call it a witch hunt, go after anyone and everyone in the industry. And everything was questionable. And this person, that, and that person, this. And I'd sometimes think to myself, well, I know that person. Like, I know that person is a good guy. Like, so I don't know why they have him under the microscope. And then suddenly, like, they decided to put me on there. Now, there's a lot to say about that. Like, and I want you to know this.
But also in this industry, I noticed you word something one word off, like you can be screwed.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
The lady that got put into an admin position on that page.
Yeah.
Her son, and I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
Her son, who actually was adopted by somebody else because I guess she had him, but wasn't active in his life early on in life. I may be wrong.
Oh.
I'm sure I'll get blasted for this too.
Yeah.
But her son was a known broker that was brokered and brokering people.
Yeah.
These are facts.
Yeah.
Okay. And somebody put his name on blast on the ethics page. She came in as a concerned mother who was actually his biological mother and worked her way into the admin position there to protect his name.
Yeah.
But what happened was the guy who started the page kind of just made her the voice of the page.
Yeah.
And so this is the lady now who, I don't know if it was mother's guilt or whatnot that she wasn't present in her kid's life and that he turned out, but there's...
Well, I know what it is.
What is it?
It was Pablo. She has a big resentment against Pablo.
Well, Pablo came later. The people that her son was involved with were a whole other sector, like other people that were caught up in that world that ended up getting indicted. So what she took it upon herself, and I know where this originated and why it started.
And I sent her some of the screenshots too.
Right.
Yeah, because like I feel like the way that they were treating people was just not right. And when I did my job at that place, I did my job the best I could.
Right.
And for me,
but the screenshots you sent her, we were talking about for Pablo's place.
Oh no, okay, Pablo's is a whole different story. So like,
Yeah.
what do you want to know about that?
Well, it's not that I want to know. What I'm trying to kind of just talk about here. And this is just the beginning.
Hmm.
I'm just now becoming more vocal about that era.
Yeah.
When you reached out to me and said, they're putting your name out there, but I know who you really are.
Yeah.
Because her son was caught up, she worked her way into a position there.
Hmm.
She even so much as brought your mom in as an admin
Yeah.
or moderator, right?
Mhm.
But my interactions with your mom were always good too. Your mom knew I was above the board. So
Yeah.
my point is this. She took it upon herself to put that one guy who passed away from the first center you went to, because he was indicted by the FBI,
Mhm.
which was an open case that never got solved or nobody ever
Got charged.
got charged
Yeah.
because he died.
Yeah.
Okay. She put his indictment sheet next to my picture and put my name up.
My mom did that?
Not your mom,
Oh.
that lady.
Okay.
And she went on to say a lot of things about me. She's probably made, 6, 7, 8 posts about me.
What did-
Even so much as a post saying I'm homophobic, right? So it doesn't, that's neither here or there. That's whatever.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What does she do for a living?
God knows.
So my thing with the ethics page is like these people, I get it. There are some people doing some wrong things, but some people aren't. And like you guys, they're blasting people that are actually trying to help.
Okay, well then, with that said, the other day you asked me about Patrick Ridge.
Yeah.
I actually had him on my podcast one time, and the lady in some of her stuff talked about me having him on. And like, I've gone to Graceland,
Yeah.
and I see how they talk about
beautiful.
Graceland. Well, like you were saying, as far as the structure that's provided in a sober living environment, a lot of people, Patrick Ridge is a controversial figure.
Yeah.
In his own right, in his own way, right? I am me.
He's very open.
He's very open.
Yeah.
I am me. He is him. We all have imperfections.
Yeah.
Everyone has imperfections. You have imperfections. That lady from the ethics page has imperfections.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all God's children. But they really have it out for him. Like, they really want to tear this guy down and paint a picture of it. Patrick doesn't need to make money.
No.
I know him. I've gone to Graceland Ranch. I see the type of work that they do. I know why they do the work they do. He went through a structured, sober living environment, so he's trying to bring that in there and give it his flavor, and that's fine.
And it's great. When I went there, it was great.
There's a lot of people that have come out of there that are success stories, living very sober lives.
Yeah, I seen it. It's great. Like,
But-
I loved it.
But back to this lady putting people on blast, one has to wonder, when you said, what does she do for work? One has to wonder, what is her clear motive of going on the ethics page?
Yeah.
Is she fighting the good fight? Is she exposing people because she's doing it for the better good of the industry? I would like to hope so and think so, because that's originally what that ethics page was.
Yeah.
The sad part is when she starts putting people on blast that do have good reputations, she starts to taint their reputations, where people start wondering, is this person a good person or not?
Yeah.
And she also can cause job loss for some people.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And when you ask, what does she do for work? I don't know. Like,
That's
she
what I'm saying.
supposedly she owns some kind of store, right? Antiques, things like that. Regardless, really, I don't care what she does for work.
What I'm saying is, like, what gets me mad is, like, are you gonna help that person then? Like, if you're getting mad for this person helping them, like, instead of posting it on the ethics page and putting people on blast, like, get them in somewhere.
Well, she has a vendetta against certain people, and there's certain people that she will just not like, and I'm one of them. And the reason that she doesn't like me, and I'll say this, is because I went into Messenger with her, and when we went back and forth, I told her, I basically said, the two guys that your son was caught up with, I helped to expose, because I did.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have
did your part.
no qualms.
Yeah.
And she said she just came back at me. She was angry at this point. She wanted to do everything that she could to make her son seem and look innocent. So I want to ask you, during the time that you were caught up in the broker game, Were you innocent?
Yes and no. I mean,
Could
like,
you make your own choices for yourself?
yeah,
Could you do the right thing?
yeah,
Did you choose not to for a long time?
yeah. But I was also like, there was times where I was like doing very good, and then it was like I had a fear of like leaving treatment. Like I was institutionalized.
Institutionalized. But when you say doing really good, like a lot of times I hear a lot of people say, while I was in treatment, I was doing really good.
Yeah, like I mean,
But
I
here's
was
the
doing the
thing.
thing. Like,
If you were on, and everyone, there's many paths to recovery.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some people can be on weed and that's their recovery. Some people can be on Suboxone, that's the recovery. Some people can be on Xanax, that's the recovery.
Yeah,
Harm reduction, people that are still
yeah, yeah. That's
on
what they call
maintenance,
it.
that's the recovery.
Yeah.
But how good were you really doing if you ended up leaving and going and doing drugs again?
Not that good.
Not that good.
Yeah.
So how good were you? When you say I was doing really good, it might have appeared to be that you were
It was
doing good.
better than what I was at before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. What I loved about you, this is what happened. This is what changed everything. You called me one day, probably 3 months ago, and you said you're sober. And I said, okay. And I thought, well, that's Gabe. He's like probably on weed still,
Yeah, I remember this.
right?
Yeah.
And then we started talking some more, and you said, no, I'm 100% sober. You said, I'm present in my daughter's life,
Softball coach.
softball coach. I'm working for a place that's above the board. I said, so you're not caught up in Pablo's world anymore. Now we'll talk about Pablo, and then we'll talk about why you left the clutches of that organization. First of all,
But I want to be clear, I wasn't a house manager for Pablo.
you weren't a house manager for Pablo, but you were wrapped up in
another one like that.
people that were affiliated with Pablo.
Yeah. I didn't know that actually.
Okay. And Pablo's real name is not really Pablo.
It's Nathan Young.
Yeah, but he goes by Pablo.
Yeah.
He was exposed.
I know.
He was exposed online.
I know. I have a picture of his ID.
As a matter of fact, the lady that was exposing him online,
yeah.
the lady from the ethics group tries to expose that lady. Isn't that some shit?
So I don't know if can I say this right now or like.
Say whatever you want.
So I heard that the ethics page you can pay to get taken off.
You mean to get the ethics page taken down?
No, to just get that post taken off. Like you pay a certain amount. That's what I've been hearing.
That lady, the posts that she makes on there, she will go above and beyond to make sure
They don't get taken down.
Oh, listen, what she does, and
Because I've experienced it. Like I've seen it. I'm not going to go into detail, but like I know someone that got blasted and it's gone.
well, I mean, you could search that person's name and usually find it, but that's not even the point. Like, once it's out there, who cares if it gets taken down? It's already been seen.
Yeah.
And then, if that's the way you want to run somebody's name through the mud, and you're okay with yourself with that, because which she is,
Yeah.
she doesn't care. She doesn't care who she affects. She's not, in my opinion, she's not in this for the better good of people. It's psychological in a sense. She'll tear down anyone she can.
It seems like an addiction. Like she just wants to, like.
Well said.
Yeah.
Like you say you went to Graceland Ranch, you met Patrick?
Yeah.
And-
Well, not Patrick. I met Danielle.
Okay, so you met them.
Yeah. And if
Were they doing bad work there?
No, and they film everything. If you're doing shady work, why would you film everything?
Well, that's the thing. They think when they're filming everything and you're filming the addicts that you're exploiting them.
But if they're signing consent to it and they love that. They love that. Like
They like to be seen?
yeah, they like to.
They
see
like
that.
to talk about the recovery?
Yes.
Is there anything wrong with people on camera talking about the recovery?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, you're doing it right now. Wow. Okay.
I'm actually
you might be putting some inspiration and some hope in the universe.
I'm actually changing my Instagram to recovery related stuff because I have all these people that I know that are in addiction that don't know the way out. They don't even see this as an option.
Okay. So by you talking about this stuff, there might be people that were caught up in Pablo's world that now see, wow, someone's actually vocalizing it.
Yeah.
Right? Give me two of the gnarliest experiences, stories that you either saw or heard about while you were caught up in that circle.
All right, so I was supposed to go into this place and get paid. Didn't end up going through. It was cold. I had nowhere to go. So I called up this guy from Rodeo Recovery, and I had a bunch of pills on me, and I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to finish these. Like, I'll do what I can in the car, but like, I can't finish them. Like, it's not gonna happen." And he's like, "Okay, just before you get here, like, get out of the Uber." I was like, "All right." And then I fell asleep, and I woke up, and I was in the driveway, and I was like, "Dude, like, I need to finish these. I'm not gonna stay. Like, yeah, I like, you know how I am. When if I'm going in somewhere, like, I have to finish. Like, and that's a bad part of like my addiction." But um, he then was like, "Okay." He's like, "Let's go inside really quick." He took my phone. He took my picture, and then he's like, "Okay, let's go." And he walked me off property, grabbed me some foil, and we went down the street into this like alley type of thing. And I smoked 5 pills back to back, and I had one left. I was like, "Dude, like I can't finish this. Like, I'm stumbling." And he's like, "Fucking finish it. Like, you need to finish that, and then when you need to get your ass in there." And
Into where? Into detox.
yeah, in a detox.
Because you have insurance.
Because yeah. And his whole thing was like, "Oh, I'll get you a job. I'm gonna take care of you."
He
this
wanted to
and
get
that.
you as fucked up as he could.
And this is what he said. He said, "You need to smoke that motherfucking pill so you can get me all the days that I need." And that's what he said. Because
Days of treatment.
yes,
'Cause
because
you get paid per day.
they thought that my insurance was gonna get cut from Cigna to Kaiser, so
They wanted to milk it till
milk it.
the last, every last morsel.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other story?
So
Anything?
oh wait, okay, actually that's not even the end of the story. So
Okay.
then, as you know, my past, I walk in there, do my thing. We already know like how I'm talking and everything, and I didn't know it was Helping Hands. So I'm doing my thing for another place, and the nurse calls me over. She's like, "Hey, honey," she's like, "I think you need to go to bed or something. Like, you're talking too much." And then she pulls this little red Solo cup out of her purse, hands it to me. It's like this little like rectangular blue pill. I take it, and she's like, "Okay, like just go upstairs and go to bed." And I was like, "All right." Like, I went upstairs, woke up, I was in the hospital, and I was getting a catheter ripped out of me. So like I was
It
dead.
just knocked you out.
But that's lucky for me. Usually you dump people. Like, you don't even get to go to the hospital with Helping Hands. They just fucking dump you.
Do you ever meet him in person?
No.
But you met people that worked for him?
I met people that worked for him, met people close to him. A lot of different
A
things.
lot of the people that I ever talked to that had worked directly for him or under him, they made it really seem like it was a very violent world, or it was very.
It is very violent. I don't understand. Like, how, like I don't like people are going missing from detox residential treatment centers. How do you like imagine sending your kid from Idaho to get clean off of, like, let's say something not even that bad, like weed. Like, they just have like a little weed problem and they're just trying to get off, and parents are scared. So you send them out there, and then boom, your kid
He's
goes
caught up in
missing.
Pablo's world, and then
Well, and they traffic him and like they kidnap. Like, some of these people are missing. They're gone.
what made you decide to break through the clutches of body brokering, being body brokered, and getting 100% sober?
I was tired of getting ripped off, and I don't want other people. I almost died doing this shit for money, and I did the math. You could go to work at McDonald's and make just like the same amount, like not 10,000, but really, like, you're not gonna get that 10,000. You're gonna get pieced out, and if you're lucky, you're gonna get that. Like, it's not worth it. Just if you're gonna go to treatment, go to treatment.
What made you decide 100% sober?
Oh, 100%
Yeah,
sober.
what happened?
Like, I have too much to lose now. Like, I can't fall back.
Like, what have you got to lose?
Like, I got a brand new car. I got my daughter that looks up to me.
How old's your daughter now?
6. I got her in tutoring. I got my girlfriend with me. Like, my grandma can trust me, like, to take care of her. Like, my grandpa, like, everything's falling back into place. It took time, but my uncle, we're even getting a better relationship. Like,
I did the math in my head. We actually met 4 years ago, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
about
long
4
time.
years.
I was going through our texts too, and I was like
Yeah.
cussing you out, mad,
Yeah.
and that's how I was. I mean,
And you were cussing me out, but what was my intention for you?
you know what? You never got mad at me. You were just like, I wish you the best. Like you were always just nice. Like,
Well, I thought it was either a two-way road with you. Either you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna die from this thing, because really that's the path you run. I'm actually surprised you're sitting in front of me.
yeah,
You are. We're both dead men walking, right? Like from what we did to ourselves. I thought that this guy's like so reckless, as you mentioned yourself. You were reckless before. That he's either going to die or he's going to get this thing. And look at you, you turned it around. And this is remarkable because for a guy who you were on a mission to death.
yeah. Well, and then I got with that older lady. Remember that older lady that had all that money and won the lottery?
I didn't know
That spun me out bad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Oh
that
my
was
God,
it.
you got stories, kid.
Yeah, I got stories.
But now you coach what is it?
A softball
A
team.
softball team.
I'm trusted to coach a softball
You're
team.
trusted to
That's
coach a softball team. Well, you're a different guy.
Yeah,
Gabe, when I
totally
see you
different.
now, when we like, look at you, you're wearing a sweater, like you're
dressed.
nice, you're dressed up nice. You're working in the field of addiction, trying to help people the right way, get the help that they need.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever imagine this for you.
I didn't either. Like, I always wanted to help people, but I just didn't think I could help myself.
I thought you would die in the process. You wouldn't make it.
I mean,
But you made it.
everyone-
So I
yeah.
do believe in miracles. You're a miracle for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure your mother sleeps better at night.
Yeah, no, she does.
And that little rebel, little shit guy that like was so hard to deal with. So many people couldn't deal with you.
Yeah.
You're transformed. I saw the other day you posted a picture of Camille and Katie, and you said like what you put them through, and what center was that? The
Yeah.
same center
Beginnings.
where
Yeah.
the guy who passed away.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, that guy that was indicted by the FBI
Yeah.
was linked up with something and ended up getting himself. No one knew about that.
Yeah.
That's something that he did to himself, and in that time he ended up passing away. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us, but I know
Yeah, but that doesn't make him a bad person.
he
It
wasn't a
doesn't
bad
make
person.
the program
wasn't a bad
bad,
person,
anything
yeah.
like that. Like, I feel like it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad person. He had a good heart.
Yeah.
He made mistakes.
Yeah, people mess up,
Yeah.
you know, like, and everyone has their history, and unfortunately, his just got brought to the light, and like, yeah, that happens.
It happened.
Happens.
And you and I could have possibly not survived either. Like,
No. Could have been
had we
us.
still gone in certain directions in our lives, we would have overdosed and died too.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're here and our hearts are beating, our lungs are breathing,
Yeah.
we have a purpose. We have a purpose to help people.
Yeah, and it feels good. That's my new high. Like when I'm talking to people and they're like, "You convinced me. Like you got me to want to get like sober." Like, dude, those are like the best words, because I'm like, oh my God, like this person didn't even want to talk to me. Like they didn't want to give me the time of the day, and now they're like down. Like they want to change their life, and then their parents like are happy too. It's an all around great feeling, because then like I don't know, I love it. Like feels so good.
It's a trip. When I used to see you and I interact with you, I'd think like such a good looking, handsome Mexican kid with like these big, huge, like colorful eyes. That like what a waste it would. I remember seeing you in the hospital after you hit your face from passing out or whatever
Yeah.
it was. And just thinking like, God, is this kid like, he's going to ruin his whole life? The little daughter, like what's his little daughter going to think like if her dad passes away? But now to be present in that little girl's life, it's just
way
such a
better.
beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, I know. And she tells me like I'm so proud of you all the time. Like she knows a lot, and like she's really smart. Like she's really smart, and it's good.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
These are I believe this episode, this is what I live for.
Yeah.
This is why I do what I do, because you never know what human being God's going to put in my path that I could in some point try to just encourage to be on the path of recovery. I think between guys like the guy from that center, the owner, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was going into like I was in hotel rooms, and he was like knocking on their doors,
Looking
like,
for you to try to help you.
Yeah, because he's like you have too much potential to waste, and like your family needs you, and you got a daughter at home.
There you go.
Yeah.
So between guys like that, between anybody that tried to talk about recovery to you and tell you you need recovery, please come into this path. Quit shitting on yourself. Quit ruining your life. Do this thing. Do this thing. Do this thing. Something clicked within you, and look at you now.
Yeah.
How long are you sober?
10 months and like 23 days.
Not in relapse mode.
Nope.
Not in treatment hopping mode.
Nope.
You have a lot to live for.
Nope. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and you're just building and building and doing well for yourself.
Yeah, I have a lot to live for. Like, I look forward to my job every morning. Like, I love what I do. Like, I love living this life. Like, I would not go back for like nothing. Like, it's too much to lose.
You
Like,
got a lot of heart, kid.
yeah. Like,
I'm telling you, man, I'm so stoked for you.
Thank
so
you.
happy. I'm so grateful. Every time that there used to be a time when you'd text me and I think, oh, there's Gabe again. What's going on with Gabe's world? Now when you text me, it's like, it's colorful. It's like, oh, Gabe. Like,
Yeah.
I love to hear from Gabe, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing good work, man. Just keep doing what you're doing because we need you, Gabe.
Yeah.
I used to tell you that a long time ago, kid. We need you.
I know. I want to start working with kids too, like the teens and stuff like that, because I feel like that's where a lot of this stuff happens.
Actually, we're doing some stuff with teens. I'm organizing a few different things. I'd love to involve you in it.
All right. Yeah.
Both with troubled teens that are in the system, in the juvenile system, but also kids that are in
Foster care.
foster care, things
yeah.
like that, and also schools and things like that.
Okay.
I have a lot to tell you, and we'll talk about that later. I
Okay.
want to thank you for coming to the corner.
Yep. Thank
This
you.
is a recovery podcast. Remember to subscribe. Please like our page, but most importantly, please share it everywhere. We're about helping people. And until we meet again, much love to everybody. Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank